Hi there! This is Yoga in Your Living Room, and I'm Brentan Schellenbach, and today we're doing a chair yoga practice designed to open the chest and upper body, specifically for people who are working in an office environment, whether that's on location or in your home office all day long. So first things first, let's start with a bit of intuitive movement. So if you've been sitting down for a long time, maybe you stand up, and if you just sat down to do a little chair yoga bit, then maybe you can stretch sitting down. So the whole purpose of this is to basically stretch in a similar way that you would stretch if you just let yourself move right out of bed in the morning. So taking the arms maybe in some other direction from the torso besides down at the sides. And you might find it's really easy to stretch if you kind of let the depth of your breath be your guide. So you're looking for lengthening movements in the torso. And every time you stretch, the idea is that it opens up a little bit more space in that torso cavity. So then when you find that space, pat it in with breath so you take advantage of it right away. And it's almost like whatever part of you is really big and full gets even bigger and even fuller. And so if you're standing up, maybe a good time to find the seat once again. We want to find the seat, we want to be pretty steady on the floor. So if you have a rolling chair, just maybe settle it in some place where it doesn't feel like you're going to spin out of control. And then let's place the feet kind of flat on the floor so you're making more of like a 90-degree with your knee and your thighs. And you feel your feet, even if they're in your shoes, ground into whatever surface they're grounding into. Maybe even get the toes a little bit light so that they can kind of lift and you can feel the surrounding bone mass pressing down. Let's take 3 deep full breaths. So in through the nose, all the way down to the base of the belly. And out through the mouth, nice and easy. Breathe in all the way down to the belly. Let your chest lift out of your armpits, shoulders soft. And exhale, release the breath, but keep the space. One more full time breathe in. And out. We'll do a little bit of seated cat-cow here. So it kind of depends on what feels really good for your shoulder girdle. We'll try to see if we can take the arms to the overhead plane where the elbows lift up and we clasp the hands behind the head. We want to see if we can do this from the whole band of the chest and shoulder opening rather than like the belly pushing forward and the tailbone going back. So we're not trying to make this a spinal movement. We're trying to make this more of a muscular movement of the chest and the upper back. And so as we hold this position, let's see if we can breathe nice and deep through the nose, even if it makes some sound. That's a good sign, like your throat is pulling in the air through your nostrils. We want to teach ourselves how to lift the arms to the overhead plane without stressing out the shoulders. So take your shoulder shrugging muscles, relax them down, and breathe padding into your back ribs. So inflate them on every inhale. Let's take one more breath in this shape. And then exhale, we're going to curl the elbows in by the head. We're going to pull the navel back to the spine and kind of round the chin down to the chest just a little bit so it's not too much. And then this starts our back and forth movement with breath. So your next inhale, peel from the low belly, the heart reaches forward, the chest opens up, and the vision goes up to the sky with the back neck still long. And then on the exhale, we curl the elbows into the skull, we take the chin in towards the chest, we pull the belly back. And so going back and forth, your own breath. And so it's not really like a full range of movement that we're looking for here. It's more like an experience with breath. So try to link your beginning, middle, and end of movement with your beginning, middle, and end of breath. And then this time as we come back to our upright position, we can relax our arms all the way down by the side so you can feel the blood kind of recollect there. And take deep, full breaths. You can let the eyes just soften in front of you, or you can let the eyes close. Maybe we take some shoulder circles now. That might feel really nice. And you can even add in some neck circles here as well. So playing into a few different parts of the body. And if you find an area of really intense sensation and you're like, man, I should stay here, then stay. You can even kind of use your hands to help stretch 2 points in opposite directions, or maybe even assist in some self-massage if that feels appropriate, either in your neck or your upper back. You can even kind of just reach your hands back here. Sometimes feels really nice. And so this should really be your break. This is your break from your work. Let's see if we can open the chest and shoulders a little bit. So arms out as a T. When they go out, flip the palms to face up. And it's like the elbows, like if they were bent, they would swing forward, if that kind of makes sense. I'm not sure. So palms spin up, and it's like you're trying to get your elbows to swing forward. And that's setting the arm bones, the upper arm bones, in external rotation, which is what we want here, because that external rotation all of a sudden opens the chest, shoulder, armpit junction, which typically gets really closed off in our office work. So feeling that whole area open. Now soften your shoulder shrugging muscles, and we're trying to put this work in just like the musculature of the back and the arms. So not so much in the shoulders, not so much in the neck. And so sometimes we need to renegotiate the position of our skeleton so that everything feels really hunky-dory. And then let's take the right elbow under the left, take your hands around and clasp for a little hug here. So we're softening. We're not trying to make this like an overly round position where you're kind of like bulging your upper back to the back and then kind of caving your chin in. We actually want to slide the heads of the arm bones back into their socket so that the chest is more revealed. And then scooch and slide your skull up and back. Sometimes I even kind of like kink it a little to the left and the right as I bring it up and back so that you feel like your ears are more perched above your shoulders. And then from here, decide, do you want to stay here? If you do, you can kind of like take your elbows in some circles to open up the shoulders a bit, or you can make this more intense on the shoulder joint by peeling the forearms away, taking the backs of the hands together or the fronts of the hands together for eagle pose arms. And if that's what you like to do, again, slide the head of the arm bone into their socket so that the shoulder blades go into neutral on the back, and then charge your forearms forward. Soften your fingers. Don't pull from the back of the neck, so keep the skull constantly lifting, perched right on top of the shoulders. And then spread out the wings, stretch open again, and we'll do the other side. So left under right. You can start with your bear hug. And whenever we change these arm variations, we really want to build an arm relationship with the torso where everything feels free and mobile and strong, so that the whole torso doesn't feel like it's been compromised when we take these new positions. That's when we know when to back out and do something a little bit less intense. So if you can keep the spine in this position, maybe peel the forearms away, maybe take the fronts of the hands together. And it doesn't mean you're more advanced, because we're not going for beginner, advanced, or anything like that. We're looking to understand our experience. Slide the heads of your arm bones back no matter where you are, and then charge the elbows forward and the forearms forward if you have the eagle arm set. And then release, stretch out. One more thing, grab onto something that can be your desk, it can be your leg, and then we'll take a side stretch. So you grab on with one hand and you stretch the opposite hand over. You're going into that crescent moon shape. So as you breathe in, fill your belly button back to your spine and wave vertical length out of your spine. That might seem weird because we're in this like C shape, but breathe from the base of your pelvis all the way out through your skull and create space. Then come on up and take your other side. And then come on up through center. Last thing that might feel really good is a little twist. So again, grabbing onto what makes sense around you. It can be part of your body, it can be your chair. Both hands go in service. So let's say we're going to turn to the left first. Revolve the heart, but not the pelvis. And before you set the hands on your objects, really wherever they're at, grabbing even the air if you really want to. But before you take the hands into place, breathe vertical length through the whole spine. Take the heart forward of the armpits and then revolve from your right rib cage over to your left. And then same thing to the other side. So we come up through center. And then twist over to the right. And again, before the hand set, because sometimes the hand set and then we kind of fail to reintegrate, right? Because we're like, oh, I'm already in the pose. So before we land in the pose, we feel that we're vertically rising, that the whole torso is feeling compacted, like it's still like a community system, so to speak. And then we set the arms and we revolve the left rib cage to the right. And then come on back through center. You can raise your arms up to the sky if you haven't done that, or if that just feels good on your shoulders. Reach all the way up. And then just one little bitty thing before we call it quits for the day. Stretch out in between your fingers, especially if you've been typing a lot. Go through every single set. And then stretch out through the palm of the hand by taking all, like, 4 of the fingers with one hand and stretching. It's like talk to the hand, right? Like, so talk to the hand and then grab your 4 fingers and pull them back. And that'll stretch out through the palm and like right at the wrist crease. Both hands. And then whatever hand you're at, now it's kind of like you gotta stretch more of the forearm muscles. So it's like take your forearm up and then like do the same thing. So you're pulling back on your fingers and now you're targeting more of the forearms. So it's a little bit different, like very similar, but a little different relationship to the other joints, and all of a sudden it has a totally different sensation. Okay, now if your face is set in an all weird way, like you've been squinting and staring at a screen for too long today, take your dirty hands. You can go wash your face and hands after. Take your dirty hands, massage out your face a little bit. So the face, the home of our nonverbal communication, all of our habits, our patterns, things like that. Really big part of the brain is devoted to the face and the hands, actually. And so lots of habits that we're maybe not even aware of here, just clearing all of that space out. When you're ready, relax your hands, and we'll take a few more deep breaths before we send ourselves back into our busy day. So the next time you breathe in, really nice and big and full through the nose, all the way down to your hips. And exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Relax your breath and your eyes and your face. Re-enter your work slowly today with consideration for your body and your health. Drink lots of water, take breaks, go outside, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining.